All right, we're going to do a little bit of a review on this KOHLER faucet, bathroom faucet, and it's called the Mistos Touchless. And as you can see, with the waving of the hand there, you're supposed to be able to turn this thing on and off and not have to touch it. Comes well packaged. We've taken some of the wrapping off of it so you could see what we're dealing with here. We have the faucet and the controller, which controls the on and off flow for the switch. It's also where the batteries go. And as you can see, it comes with a couple sets of batteries here. And by the way, we own a faucet that you touch to turn it on and off, works with batteries, and we usually go about a year before we have to change those batteries. And the standard, you have your hot and cold drainage hose there, and then the wiring here for setting this all up. So we're going to take it apart and look at it and try to see what all it's going to take to install in our cabana bath. Okay, so we took it out of the box, and what you're going to have here is your cold and hot. These connect to the valves under the sink, supply valves. And this is your outlet hose. And once you get into the process, you're going to see it connects on the top here. And then this is the inlet, I believe they call it. And it connects, it slips in. It's that kind, the kind you push in, you'll hear it click. On this box right here, this is an override. So if your batteries ever go out, you can override it by just turning this clockwise, and then the faucet will operate normal, and the hands, you'll be able to turn it on and off. It bypasses the valve controller, and then when you replace your batteries, you would turn that back to normal. These little wires are dummy proof, and they connect over here on the box. So that's just how everything's just going to kind of connect. As you can see, they give you a drain. It's the push kind, which is really nice to match, so that everything matches. It's a single hole faucet replacement. It's designed for a sink that only has one hole, not the two on the side. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't do two on the side. You would just have to measure and make sure that where the two inlets, that the edge of this would cover those two holes, so that you didn't have any exposure holes. And these here, or they call valve checks, and they screw on or into the end of your inlet hoses, supply hoses, and then you put these on top of the supply. All right, so we're going to prep our sink to receive this, and go through the process of installing it and let you know how she works. Okay, I went ahead and removed my old sink, took out the drainage and the supply lines, because all of that's given with the purchase. As you can see, I'm replacing a 3-hole. And so the faucet is designed, it comes with a plate. If you're replacing a 3-hole, you use this plate to cover up those two existing holes. If you have a single hole, then you can get a much modern look by just setting the faucet right on top. Now all of the lines are still going to go through the center from the faucet, right through this center hole down. I hope I'm not having to widen that. I hope it's wide enough. So this is what it is designed for. Just want to see before we start the install. I'm going to go ahead and actually mount the faucet and then view how to mount the valve, the check valve, that electronic casing that controls the flow of the water by the movement of the hand on the faucet itself. All right, so we'll do that and get right back. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like with the plate on it. And I'm going to tell you now, it's not easy running all those wires and connectors through that single hole. And the way you're going to do that is you are going to run the cable with the biggest head on it first. You're going to run it first. Then you're going to put these through one at a time. Then you're going to put the bigger black one through. And then the two smaller wires. If you don't go in that order, they're not going to all go through because the heads are going to be too big. So that's the order you need to do it. The outlet hose with the biggest connector, then the hot and cold cables with the smaller connectors one at a time. They'll fit through. And then do the bigger black hose. This is the inlet connector that goes to the box. And then you can do your smaller cables. Okay. All right, I'm gonna lock this thing in up under here and mount this. All right, so you're gonna receive the drain put together like this. And you're gonna wanna unscrew the top like so. Then you want to unscrew the bottom and pull this bigger gasket off, the big gasket, right? You are going to fit this part right here through your drain in your sink. And once you do that, you're going to put this gasket back on with the beveled side up. Bevel side up like this. That's going to go up against your sink. Then you're going to screw this back on just like that. I'm sorry, wrong way. Make sure the flat side is up. You're going to screw that on, and then you're going to push this beveled gasket up against the bottom of your sink. And at the same time, it's going to pull this washer down on the top and create a seal. And that's how that's going to be done. So I'm going to put it in and I'll... Okay, so we've put it in. You can see this guy can just screw right off. Just like that. And this is your stopper. You won't need, if you have a sink that has the little pull thing in the back right here, you won't need that anymore. This you push down and that stops the water. That up, that lets it drain. So underneath, you can see we ran the pipe down into the P-trap area, and up underneath is where the big bolt, what you call it, and in between it and the sink is that beveled washer. Now this is all designed so that you don't have to use plumber putty. But if you do get a leak for some reason, you can always put some plumber putty on it. As you can see, I had that before on this bottom one. But this is a beveled connector as well. And it is designed just to screw on there. And it will tighten the drain there. And we're going to run some water. We're going to hook up the things and run some water through it. We're also going to make sure all the debris is out, checking all the screens everywhere and making sure nothing's clogged. All right, I forgot to tell you about this little part here. So once you have your faucet through the hole, everything is up here and through the hole, then you are going to run this guy facing up just like this. So this flap like this is pointing down, and this is the curvature port like this is up towards the deck itself. And that hole right there is going to go over the bolt. There's a brass bolt sticking down through your sink into the cabinet of your sink. That is a part of the faucet. And you're going to screw this guy. Now, make sure you screw this in. This in here, you can see the little slit. That's what you're going to use a screwdriver to tighten it down real good. And this bracket is going to mount that faucet, make it good and sturdy up against your sink. So what's important when you do that, right before you tighten it real good, is you make sure that this is straight. This bottom is straight, and you just got to kind of eye that. But when you'll tighten her down, if she's a little crooked, you loosen it and readjust it and retighten it, and that will mount that faucet to the sink. So there is that bolt that I am talking about, and this bracket is going to go just like this. Sorry about that. I just realized I wasn't showing anything. And all right, so I got it on there. Sorry, it took 2 hands to do it, so I had to remove my camera. And then you're just going to get this guy and screw him on and then tighten him down. And you can see the notches in this bracket. It's designed for these hoses to go in there. All right, I'm going to tighten that down. All right, so what we're going to do now is mount this bracket. It's going to be mounted horizontal, not vertical, horizontal. You want the support base of the bracket on the bottom. It's going to go on the side of the wall. Now it can go on the side or it can go in the back of your countertop. It depends on the best positioning. So how do you determine that? Well, this connector hose has to be able to go on top of this control box, right? And so that's going to kind of determine where you put that bracket, how low or high, and where out on the wall, or whether it's the back wall or the side wall. These, the cables that plug in, they're pretty long, so they're going to fit pretty much no matter what. Okay, so I've chosen to mount mine on the side, right over here. I'm going to mount that and connect these cables. So once I mount it, I'm going to connect this on top. This one goes on top, and this one is going to go into the bottom, and then these plug in. The electric ones plug in on the side. You can see where they plug in over here on the side. The big one screws in on top, and the other one is going to screw in on the bottom. So this is going to end up being mounted sort of like this right here. And then my control valve to override the batteries is going to be on the back side. So if you don't like that, then choose the back of your counter. Just choose a different location. So after you put your bracket on, you're going to come over to your modulator or control valve, and this is where the batteries go. And you just you pop this way and then pull it out, and then you'll see how to put these batteries on. All right, so this is what it's out. We're going to put the batteries in. I do want to say, because I tried putting it back in already, be careful of these 2 metal pieces when you put it back, slide it back in. Now, it is dummy proof. You can see the slot on the side and on the other side. And so it would only go back in one way. But you can see the little metal pieces in there, those two metal pieces. That is what these guys are going to go up against. And it really is kind of difficult to get back in. So once you got to really push, sort of put a little force to it to get it in there, but you'll feel it snap back in. So we're going to put the batteries in. Of course, do that according to the instructions that you see there inside of the case. Okay, so here's the final product. Now, the instructions tell you that when you plug these in, the white lines should be facing the front of the box. And that's true for these two, but it's not for the green one. Now, when you look at the socket that it goes into, you can tell that you can tell the way it's supposed to go in. It's flat on one side and curved on the other. So it's sort of dummy proof. Here's where your top guy connects, your outlet, and then your inlet down here snaps. It just pushes up in there. It snaps up, and you'll hear it snap when it goes up in there. Make sure you don't have any leaks on your inlets there. And it really is a very simple install. Works nice. You come up here, we got this beautiful faucet. You just wave your hand. Never works when you want it to, right? Wave your hand, it comes on. If you want to stop it, do that. I'm sorry for the vertical video on this part of it. And then push it and drain, go down. Wave your hand. So the sensor is up underneath it. Wave it. Okay. And the code and hot is up here, of course. So you turn it on and go to hot, go to code. And when you won't go all the way over, it turns the system off completely. So it doesn't allow anything to happen at all. So if you're going away for a while and you don't want something to mess up, like the batteries accidentally trigger it on, if you have that fear, you can just turn this all the way to the right, turns the whole system off. Right? Come back. You can hear it click. That's when you know it's completely off. Turn it back on, right there, and yeah, there we go. Works great. I love it. I'm excited for it. Okay, I hope this helps with the install. It is a beautiful faucet. They give you everything you need. The only tools you're going to need is a pair of pliers, pressure wrench, maybe two, depending, and channel locks for the bigger pieces under there. Old faucet necessary. A level if you want to, make sure this guy in here is level. And a Phillips head screwdriver to screw the bracket on with. I put some Teflon tape on these brass connectors right here, just to give me a little bit more assurance that there's not going to be a leak. And outside of that, everything's great.